customer relationship management. If, as a service provider, you have a relationship with your customer, you will have good customer retention. And in any business all over the world, customer retention is more important than customer acquisition. Retaining the customers that you have is more important than getting new customers. I remember when I went into business, the first few years, I spent them running after new customers. I would focus so much on getting new customers, and I would keep losing the customers I've been having. So you find every month you're under pressure. The day you don't market, you find you're not getting any customer coming in. However, when I started focusing on customer relationship management, I found that even on days when I have not marketed, for example, the restaurant, I find some customers have come. Why? Because we have developed a relationship. Now, when we have good customer management skills, you will find that you will not struggle to get more customers. One, the customers that have been coming will keep coming back, but also they will be able to refer others. And the best marketing is what is done by your customer. When a customer who has eaten my food goes and tells another customer, the best goat meat is at Ovenuzi restaurant, it will convince the other potential customer better than when I make an advert myself. Sometimes people think of the customer in only one way: someone who pays you money for a good or a service. That is a direct customer. But there are also other customers, and who are also important. One of them is a potential customer. If you meet someone on the road, you're on a border, when you meet at a wedding, when you meet in a restaurant, as you introduce yourself, you never know who you're talking to. And let me use an example of relationships. I met my wife in a very interesting way. One time, we went for Christmas, and I decided to go on 24th. Now 24th, that is just one day to Christmas, on Christmas Eve. So I used the bus. When the bus reached Mbarara, the sons of the owners went to take some beer and they said, we are sleeping here, we'll travel tomorrow, so you get where to sleep. And it was in the evening. I said, now, people are waiting in the village. We are still in Mbarara, we still have like 200 kilometers to reach home. So I decided to mobilize a few people that were around who were continuing to cover and Kisoro. So one of the people I mobilized happened to be a lady who was coming from Ibanda. I had come from Kampala. A few people in our bus were continuing. So we managed to make 14 people. We got a taxi, it took us to Kabale. When we reached Kabale, again I looked for another car which took us to the village. As we traveled having a chat, people kept saying, this man, you have really helped us. You have mobilized people so quickly. We didn't know each other, but we have managed to travel. And then we started having different conversations about marriage, about business, about saving, about investment. And surprisingly, my views kept tallying with the views of this girl whom I had never met. So to cut the long story short, things started from there, and we are now husband and wife, very happily married. Now, that was a potential customer, a potential wife. Now, in the same way, you can meet someone in traffic jam, you abuse the person, and then the person comes and knocks on this door and says, oh my God, and turns back and says, the other person that abused me. So, the moment you're working for a corporate organization, always know that people out there are watching. You can never know who is looking at you and how you will meet. And so, those are potential customers, and they deserve customer care. Even a person who comes here looking for directions. Someone could be going to the 3rd floor and reaches here, bumps into you, and says, oh, I'm looking for such and such a place. Don't say, please look elsewhere, or you ignore the person. We were renting a place on Room Street, and we were next to a studio. So many people who would want to take photographs would come and bump into our office. And some customers don't greet. They would come and say, a person just enters and says, "Njagala chifananyi," without even greeting. So, if you do not have customer relationship management skills, you immediately get irritated because you're doing something very important. This person who is not your customer has just bumped into you and is disorganizing you. But for us, we knew that this is a potential customer. So because we were used, we made sure whenever any person came looking for the studio, we would smile at them, walk them to the studio, and in fact that developed a good relationship between us and the studio. They would make sure they also send customers to us. They would even buy us lunch once in a while. And then some customers, after taking pictures, they would come back and say, "Hey, you people, you're offering good customer care. Who are you? What do you do?" So we managed to get some clients that way. So potential customers are as important as the customers that are already giving you money. There is another type of customers, the ones we refer to as indirect customers. These are people that do not necessarily buy your service or product, but they can influence someone else to either buy or not buy. Let me give you an example. You may be working for a certain man. Let's say he's your employer. The wife has influence over whether you stay in that job or leave it. Am I telling lies? Because if the wife keeps talking badly about you, this person doesn't respect me, then you can easily lose a job. Now, I may be having a kid. Like now I have a kid of 10 years and another one of 4 years. I cannot put on kids' shoes. But if I walk with this kid is the one that needs the shoe, but I'm the one to determine whether this kid takes that shoe or not. As you deal with clients, always know that there are some people that influence whether those clients take your service or not. I want to mention that the things that we do to retain customers, it is good customer care, it is good after sales support. Some people work like Batembe. They are Batembe who can see you. He gives you something even fake. I've bought flash discs which are totally dead. I would say, a flash disc of 20,000 when I know, let's say 64 GB is supposed to be like 50,000. You buy, you reach home, it is actually not working. But this Mutembe knows that he will perhaps never meet you again. So he doesn't care giving you a fake product. Now we cannot do business like that. If you want to stay in business, you make sure there is after sales support. You do not stop at someone taking a service. And this goes especially for those that market. When you market, do not abandon the customer immediately after he or she has taken your service. You can give a call and say, "I just called to greet you, to know how you're doing, how is your business," just that one. Sometimes I go into my database and I look at customers that have ever bought a book. I can call this person and then find out how did they find the book, how are they doing in business, do they have any challenge, is there what they are selling that we can support, how can we also market them. I can even post on social media about that client and what they are doing, yet they already bought the book. And when you're offering after sales support, you do not have to do it in such a way that the customer feels you are pushing them to buy again. It's like when you love a lady, okay, those who are single. You should not give her some money, airtime, and put conditions. If she not says that you're giving me this money so that tomorrow you'll ask for this, she might also not appreciate that. This lady needs to feel that I am loved and there are no conditions. Then she will be able to love back. In fact, customer relationship management is like a love relationship. There is what you do to pursue this girl. There's what you do to market and get a customer. Once the customer has come, there is what you do to make sure the customer is happy, or this girl is happy. When she gets annoyed, there is what you do to make her happy again. You apologize to her, you give her gifts, you compliment her. Same with the customer. If a customer is not happy, again, there is what you must do to make sure that the customer is happy again. A customer can also play hard to get, like a lady can do when you're marketing. So you also have to make sure you use similar skills to make sure the customer comes and also stays. Customer retention should be at least 70%. Meaning, the customers that come, 70% of them should keep coming back. We assume that the other 30%, some will die, some will shift to other places, some will find they no longer need that product, and so on. If you retain 70%, even if you keep getting a few new ones, you'll find the clientele is growing. There is a principle called KYC and KYP. Who has heard about that?
KYC is about knowing your client.
Yes. Know your customer. Oh, know your client. Then KYP, know your product. Yes, they go hand in hand. Know your customer and know your product. I remember one time I went to buy a phone at a certain telecom company. They were called Eurosets. These phones that were almost like landlines, but they were mobile in a way. You could move with it. You just charge it, you call. So when I reached that telecom company, I asked the salesperson, I need this phone, but I need to know two things. Number one, does it have a SIM card inside? Such that if it gets spoiled, I can change the SIM card and put it in another one. She tried it to open it, and of course she was not a technical person. She could not open it. So about 10-15 minutes were wasted and she could not answer that. Now the second question I asked her, currently what are the rates? If I call, let's say, from this line to a mobile line of this company, how much money am I charged per minute? He also did not know. He said, let me see. Now again, about another 10 minutes were wasted. Those two questions were not answered. If I were the one, I would have said, oh, actually, I have the best person that will answer that question. I come and talk to Sam and say, please, handle this. But this salesperson wanted to answer technical questions that she could not. Actually, sometimes what the client has asked needs time. You can promise, and you say, by the end of today, I will have sent you this information. You can actually promise that person to give you some time. Let's say by the end of today, or in the next 30 minutes, I will call you back and give you feedback. We started from know your product. The example I gave is that that person did not know the product he was selling. In fact, he was really misplaced. You cannot sell a phone when you do not know such simple details about the product. A customer can ask you, when did this company start? Can you answer that question? Some people want to deal with a company they know has stayed on the market for some time. It didn't start last month. When they ask you, don't guess, and you say, I think it started maybe like 3 years ago. If you do not know, it means you do not know. Again, use the other approach. Knowing the product and then knowing the customer helps you relate the product to the customer. For example, you can recommend a salary loan because you know this client is a salary earner and the organization is always willing to sign for people to have salary loans. So it means now you are relating your knowledge of your products to the knowledge of this customer. If a customer is now like a businessman, like now I'm running a business, when you're marketing to me loans, you do not start from a salary loan because you know most likely what I'm looking for is a business loan. It is very important that we know the product and relate it to the customer, and also know something about the customer. If, for example, a customer likes football, you don't lose anything by, let's say if Man U won and the customer comes in, you can even say, oh, congratulations, your team won. Now there is a way that sends a positive vibe in the customer's life. By you connecting with him, it means you know this customer. Some people need a lot of respect. I have seen people introducing themselves. I am Professor so and so. I am Mr. so and so. Have you heard them? Now, if you call that person without putting Mr., they will feel like you have underlooked them. We need to do some research. In fact, you can even go on the internet, social media. Look for websites and research about someone. What do customers want? I actually woke up today. I woke up at around 5 a.m. and I just thought and I put down some points. I was thinking, what do customers want? When a customer comes to Deed, what do they expect? When they come to World of Inspiration, what do they expect? Number one, customers expect value. Value for money. In other words, a customer should not feel that I have paid more money than the value I've got. The number one thing that customers are looking for is value for money. It's not actually so much about the price. I don't want to buy something cheap and then it is fake. Like now you buy a shoe, other shoes are being sold at 50,000, you buy for 15,000 and it wears out in 2 days. You'll be annoyed, much as it was cheap. So it's not necessarily about being cheap. The other thing that customers are always looking for is assurance that you are capable. Assurance that they are dealing with a strong service provider. No one wants to deal with a collapsing entity. You want to be sure that this service provider will actually deliver. If you go to a restaurant and you find that these chefs are dirty, you will say, are these people really capable of delivering very good food? You may doubt. If you're going to buy a dress, let me go to the ladies. You're going to buy a dress, and then this person going to sell to you the dress herself is dressed in oversized trousers, is not smart. Do you get the confidence that this person will make me smart? There is a way it can easily make you not buy from that person. Everyone wants to buy from who is strong. I want to give an example of a company, MTN Uganda. MTN Uganda came with a certain marketing approach where they pushed the brand in the minds of the people to believe that we are strong, we are the #1 telecom company in Uganda. One of the ways in which they did it was to spend so much money on billboards. A billboard is built, hundreds of millions of money is spent on it. They put just a photo of a woman, let's say on a sewing machine, smiling and saying hello. Then they put MTN Uganda. Is that advert going to make you buy an MTN line? Most likely not. However, that is not what they are targeting. They are targeting putting it in your mind that the strongest telecom brand in Uganda is MTN. That when they ask you, what are the telecom companies in Uganda? What do you start with? MTN. Why? Because in their marketing, in their customer relationship management, they have pushed it in their minds deliberately. You should not present yourself to the customer as a struggling company. You should not let the customer feel that if they don't buy from you, if they don't take on your services, you're going to collapse tomorrow. No. In fact, when a customer feels that you're pressuring me, it's like this money I'm going to give you is the only money you expect to be able to survive, then the customer will think twice. The customer should feel that this is a very strong company, it will serve me, it will be here even tomorrow. Even if it gets challenges, it will deal with them. If I take a product and it doesn't work well, they can replace it. One of the reasons we do not buy phones anywhere is because I want that if I find this phone has a problem, I take it back. So it must have a warranty. That is part of being strong. Always remember, a service provider is like a consultant to a customer. If I go to a fashion designer and I need a suit for a wedding, I would expect this service provider to tell me the right size, measure me, tell me the right colors. Don't fear, by the way, to advise a client to go to another service provider. I have done that before. For example, we publish books. we can charge, let's say, 6 million shillings to edit a book, design it, copyright it, because I know I'm going to put about 10 people to work on this book for about a month or two. So if a client comes and they have, let's say, 2 million shillings, and it's all they have, I know very well that we cannot deliver the quality service we are supposed to deliver at 2 million shillings. So if I know that there is someone, maybe another company, that could deliver, and they can work with that, I have no problem recommending this customer. Some customers have recommended them to other service providers, and they have come back. You're not selfish. Let's look for the money and actually deal with you. Another thing that a customer looks for is a good brand. In other words, a service provider that delivers what you promise. Trustworthiness, being considerate. Like if someone is sick, the money lender can find someone on drip and ask for the installment. A customer really needs someone to be considerate and understand. Another thing a customer expects is to be listened to and also understood. I have seen there are people that you want to talk to, and then you start. I have this challenge. Before you even say much, they begin telling you a solution, but you feel the solution they are telling you, they have not understood your problem and they are not willing to listen. I think you have experienced that. You go back when you're very frustrated. Sometimes what a customer needs is just being listened to. I have seen customers who want to give me feedback. For example, today's food was good, it was not hot enough. They are giving feedback about my restaurant. They want me to know that they wanted food to be more hot. So this customer is not necessarily looking for a replacement. He's not saying refund my money or give me more food. No. What they are looking for is for you to hear and know that they got a service that was not as good as they expected it. So by listening to this customer and saying, oh, I'm very sorry, I apologize, let me actually talk to my chefs right now so that they do not give to a customer food that is not very hot. You even act on it. This customer is going to feel so important, not so? Because you have listened to him, you have listened to her. So they will feel that I have been understood. Then the other thing that customers expect is to be remembered. To be personally remembered. When a customer walks in here and say, oh, you're welcome, Madam Joy, there's a way he feels, they know me personally. They know my name. It's different from saying you, because when a person says you, means they are putting you in the ETC. Everybody, you're not very important. We are going to conclude with an assignment. I'm going to mention just a few good customer care practices and also bad customer scare practices. I call it customer scare. And then you'll add more. Each of you is going to give us at least 4. Let's talk about good customer care practices. Number 1, greeting customers. For us at World of Inspiration, we do not greet customers when we are seated. When a customer enters, I stand up. Whoever is there stands up and welcomes the customer and also greets the customer. So greeting and welcoming the customer is a good customer care practice. There are places you go to and you feel unwelcome. You even ask yourself, do I take this seat or is it for a staff? Have you gone to those organizations where you find a chair is next to a service provider, but you do not know whether it is for you or for the workers there? So you keep standing, you're waiting for them to welcome you or to tell you to sit or to tell you they are busy, and they just ignore you. You feel so bad. Smiling at customers. You do not have to be rude to a customer. Even if you had a problem at home with your spouse, your girlfriend or boyfriend, you should not bring the negative energy to a customer. Smile. The other good customer care practice is getting involved in personal lives. Of course, reasonably. You should not go so much into their personal lives, like you're probing, no. But I mean, you can know someone's birthday. You can make it a point that when it is a customer's birthday, you make a phone call and wish the customer a happy birthday. You can even say, we buy a customer lunch. They will feel that you have been involved in their personal lives. giving them advice. They may be doing business the wrong way. If there is advice that you can give them to help them, let's say market better, be on social media, and so on, they will be so happy. Then timely delivery. And of course, the opposite of these are the customer care practices that I talked about. For example, being rude to customers, embarrassing customers, ignoring customers. Like you promised, by the end of today, I will have called you to update you, and the week passes. That is so bad. Or a customer coming, sitting here, and they wait, and nobody is approaching him or her. Then pressuring customers for no reason. Of course, there are customers who request. If I request you to remind me a week too, or 2 days too, that is different. Please remind me. And then there's of course mannerisms. Talking to a customer, and in the middle, someone calls, and then you begin speaking on a phone, and you spend 10 minutes. What are you speaking on phone? It is really KB. Hey, how are the people in the village? Hey, have they started weeding sorghum? I heard that so and so bought a car. By the way, how much are Irish potatoes in the village? Now, that is, it is not an emergency. The phone call you're having, it's not someone who is sick in hospital. They are calling you to go and attend to them. It's not an emergency. That phone call can wait. Actually, for me, what I normally do, if someone calls when I'm speaking to a customer and my phone is in silence, I look at it. If, for example, it is my wife, I know that there could be something very important. So I will ask this person, this is my wife calling, could I kindly talk to her? Then I will say, hello, I'm in the middle of a meeting. Is it something very urgent? If it's not urgent, I will tell her, I will call her back. And the customer will understand. But I have asked for permission. I have not disrespected him by just switching from what we are doing to just attending to the phone. But if it is, let's say, a number that I don't know, or someone that I know that most likely this person is calling about this, then I will ignore it. After finishing with the customer, then I will call the other person back.